Amazing, thank you. And lots of you might be asking, what has been the actual raucous noise happening in the background? That's actually been a memory cafe. And we haven't talked much about memory cafes today, but I know that they're well represented. Lots of people are apprehensive about attending a memory cafe, but hopefully we've dispelled some myths today, because actually the memory cafes that I visited have all been exactly like that. Fun, kind, understanding, and kind of a really good kind of opportunity to meet other people. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Rose to come and talk about some of the excellent work in Saltash.
Thank you, everybody. Well, my name's Rose Edwards, and I'm a lead volunteer with Memory Box, which is part of Community Enterprises PL12, based in Saltash. I've been invited here today to tell you about the work of both organisations and how we have been working to make Saltash more dementia-friendly. First, a bit about me and how I got involved. I moved to Saltash from London about over 12 years ago, and I wanted to get involved with the community to use my skills learnt in the workplace and to meet new people. I started volunteering with Community Enterprises 11 and a half years ago, initially helping to set up a volunteer service to encourage more people to volunteer, not just for our organisation, but for many other community organisations in the town. And after a few months, I was invited to become a director of Community Enterprises. Community Enterprises also took an interest in health matters, and because of this, I helped soon set up a patient participation group at Saltash Health Centre. This led to my involvement in a new initiative to support people affected by dementia. I was a carer for my mum who had dementia, and although she died over 30 years ago, it is and will always be a cause that is very close to my heart. I know firsthand what it's like to be a carer and the problems dementia causes, not just for the individual living with dementia, but to friends and family as well. This will work? Right. Just to explain a bit more about Community Enterprises. Community Enterprises CLC was established in 2006 and collaborates with local organisations dedicated to enhancing Saltash and its surrounding areas. These include Cornwall Council, Saltash Town Council, local parish councils, along with churches, schools, healthcare providers, youth groups, the food bank, and endless more. Working closely with these partners allows us to share ideas, resources, and provide premises for meetings and events. And our aim is to identify, plan, and deliver initiatives for social, economic, and environmental improvements, making Saltash and its surrounding areas better places to live, work, and visit. It is a community interest company which is led by a team of directors who are all volunteers. We only have one full-time employee, and all of our services are run by volunteers. To go through a few of our enterprises, the community shop, which is based at the bottom of Ford Street, provides a showcase for locally based craft people. It sells handmade children's clothing, bags, jewellery, greetings cards, homemade cakes and jams, local honey, and so much more. This gives the craftsperson an outlet without having to manage a shop or a stall. We charge a small percentage on each sale, which goes towards our running costs. 4 Street is also the heart of the Community Enterprises organisation and is our administrative HQ. The Community Fridge and Larder was set up in 2019 to test whether surplus food can be shared locally instead of being thrown into landfill or incinerated. And it was a key element of the Community Enterprises' response to the pandemic and lockdown. The enterprise is now based at 4 Street in Saltash, and it operates alongside the community kitchen. We have proved without doubt that we can significantly reduce the amount of food going to waste locally, and furthermore, it is being made available to help feed the ever-growing number of local people in need. We open 2 days a week and have around 70 visitors to the fridge at each session. 1 day a week, we operate a mobile larder to distribute food to struggling families who cannot travel to the town centre, and we have also worked with the food bank to deliver meals to homeless people. In our first year, we distributed approximately 15 tonnes of surplus food. The community kitchen at 8 Fore Street was once a commercial cafe. We have turned it into a community space which local organisations can hire for a small fee. Some of the many organisations that use this space are Man Down, which is a mental health charity aimed at men, surprisingly. We have a very busy stroke group, operates on a Friday morning. We have a carers group run by our local social prescriber, and the social prescriber also has a session there, so she is very accessible to everybody in the town and not just at the GP surgeries. Memory Box, which I represent, and also we have every so often local community nurses come in and carry out free blood pressure checks. Some of the produce from the fridge and larder is used by the kitchen to make cakes, so that tea, coffee and cake can be provided for these groups. They also provide hot meals a couple of days a week, and all that is asked in payment is donations, so that nobody is in a position where they can't afford to access the services provided. The community premises enterprise was set up initially to support our other enterprises in their property requirements. By sourcing opportunities for them to operate from, it has expanded over the years, becoming a catalyst for other opportunities and, thankfully, an income producer in its own right by way of rental. The CEPL12 properties provide premises for 3 charities and numerous community groups, as well as central hubs for our own enterprises to operate from. There are currently 4 properties within the enterprise. These are at number 4 and 8 Fore Street. We also have some former public toilets in Bellevue West Car Park, which are currently used for storage by a local charity. And 18 Bellevue Road, which we saved from being sold off, which is occupied by Saltash Food Bank, Citizens Advice Bureau, and a lovely charity called Storybook Dads, who moved there earlier this year. We also have commercial organisations based there, and it is the income from these that helps us support not only our enterprises, but other community organisations. Memory Box, the next one, which I'll explain more about later, and Saltash Veterans, which is a fairly new enterprise developed from the Memory Box Veterans Group, but it now includes all veterans, whether affected by dementia or not. As Saltash is not far from Plymouth, we have a lot of serving armed forces personnel and veterans in the area. We also have Greenwich Place, which provides managed accommodation for Royal Navy veterans and their spouses. It was felt that much more needed to be done for Royal Navy veterans much felt needed to be done to provide opportunities for social occasions where they could get together and enjoy camaraderie and reminiscences. And so we recruited 2 naval veterans to run the activities. We still have the Veterans Group, which is now more inclusive, but still includes entertainment, talks, and an opportunity to mark important military anniversaries. We also run an evening session aimed at younger serving personnel and veterans, and this takes place once a month at a local pub and gives them an opportunity to seek the support they often need and chat to others who understand. Apart from our own enterprises, we've also supported other new initiatives. We've helped to set up Lovingly Local, a shop run by local craftspeople to sell their merchandise. This was initially a pop-up shop which we managed until it had proved successful enough to stand alone. It is now a thriving retail unit run by and for local craftspeople. The Saltash Scrap Store also started with our help and is now so successful they are a registered charity and they now have 2 shop units in Fore Street. They're also able to provide funds for community events and have helped set up a new scrap store in Torquay. All of this goes to show what can be achieved with the right people, dedication, teamwork and determination, and all by people who donate their time. Now, before I go into more detail about Memory Box, I'd just like to explain why we became part of community enterprises and the advantages to us. They already had insurance, including public liability, which meant that we were covered for all of our activities. Our operations manager provides an overall administration and finance service and closely liaises with our bookkeeper, and they make all payments on our behalf and keep all necessary records. We have access to a wide range of policies and procedures which cover us for all of our activities, most importantly, health and safety and safeguarding, etc. Through an external contract, we have access to a lot of online training modules, and this contract also gives us access to a secure HR system for volunteer records. We have the support of the Board of Directors, and they also help us with funding bids, volunteer recruitment, etc. They have established links with numerous organisations, both local and national. So, on to the important bit. What is Memory Box? Well, put simply, it provides support and activities for anyone affected by a mild to moderate cognitive impairment, but particularly dementia. It was first established as Dementia Voice 10 years ago in 2015. In June 2024, the decision was taken to rebrand as Memory Box, and this was for two main reasons. Sadly, there is still a stigma attached to dementia, and many people are in denial about it affecting them. We knew that what we do can benefit people with other types of cognitive impairment. For example, we've had people come along to our activities who have experienced strokes and have very much benefited from our activities. We're part of community enterprises, and like them, we're run entirely by volunteers. So, how did it all start? Well, the story began in January 2015 when an open meeting was arranged and held in the day room of St Barnabas Hospital in Saltash. It was hosted by the two GP surgeries, including their patient participation groups, the Alzheimer Society, the Memory Clinic at Liskeard, and Kernow Carers. I was one of the hosts, as I was a member of the PPG at Saltash Health Centre. We had absolutely no idea if anybody would turn up, but in the end, it was standing room only. There was a lot of anger and frustration in the room due to lack of information and support available, and we realised more needed to be done to help those affected by dementia in the town. I was stressed at this point that Saltash was not totally without services for dementia, as we had an excellent memory cafe run by Saltash Live at Home scheme, which is now MHA Communities Cornwall. However, this was not enough for the number of people who needed support. After several meetings and conversations, a formal steering group was formed involving local organisations, the Alzheimer Society, Kernow Carers, and people living with dementia and carers. And we were very lucky in the support we had from Saltash Library, Greenwich Place, St Anne's Care Home, to name but a few. We needed to know exactly what people affected by dementia wanted us to do, rather than just decide for them. And we therefore held a meeting in Saltash Library for those living with dementia and carers. Invitations to the meeting were sent out via the GP practices to everyone in the area who had received a dementia diagnosis. At this meeting, we facilitated two groups, those living with dementia and carers. We thought this was important as their needs can be quite different. We asked what the main issues were and what they wanted us to do. And the results of this meeting were exceedingly interesting, and they set the agenda for our future. We next held a business meeting in Saltash Social Club, which included talks by our then chair, a business owner on the benefits of being dementia-friendly, and a carer on the issues they faced. We had a very good turnout, and it was a very successful meeting. In April 2016, we launched our drop-in cafe. This was as a result of being asked for somewhere people affected by dementia could go for a cup of tea or coffee and not feel judged. And this isn't to say that local cafe owners or customers are judgmental, but it's more about how people affected by dementia perceive things. A lot of those who came to our cafe were veterans, particularly Royal Navy, so they asked if it was possible to have a group for veterans. And so in January 2017, our first veterans group was held, run by Carol and Ken Emmett, who I'm sure some of you here will know. Community Enterprises has always supported us and provided venues for meetings and activities, so it seemed a sensible step to formally become one of their enterprises in October 2017. One of the other things we were asked for was singing. And when one of our early service users passed away, his wife gave us the money donated at his funeral towards setting up singing sessions in his memory. It took us a very long time to find the right person to run these, which we eventually did at the end of 2019. and we were delighted to invite this gentleman's wife to our first session as guest of honour. Sadly, 3 weeks later, COVID hit, and like so many others, we were forced to suspend all of our activities. So that's the background to Dementia Voice. So what do we do now? Well, every Tuesday, some of our service users meet for lunch at the community kitchen. This developed very informally, as many of our service users went to the kitchen for lunch, and it has now become an activity promoted by us. And it also shows the really strong friendships formed at our activities. Every Wednesday morning, we have Do You Mind If I Sing? A wonderful get-together which is loved by all who attend. And we are so lucky to have a wonderful facilitator, Teresa Stevens, over there in the corner, who is incredibly supportive of all we do. And you'll shortly be able to see for yourselves what happens at one of these sessions. Still going strong after 9 years is our cafe, which is still extremely popular. This has changed over the years if we have listened to what our service users like to do, and we now have lots of games, including Jenga and drafts, and once a month we run a bingo session, which is much enjoyed by all. The emphasis is always on fun and laughter, and we always end with a few songs. No matter where our service users go, they love to sing. The veterans group is also still going, but with a slightly different emphasis, as it is now open to anyone who has served in the armed forces. Now, although I represent Memory Box, I'd also like to mention the amazing work done by MHA Communities Cornwall in Saltash, and Liz is who's just about hiding by the doorway, who runs this, and I believe James, her assistant, is around somewhere. Now, every other Wednesday afternoon, decaf takes place. This is a memory cafe where they have lots of different activities and invited guests to entertain everyone. On alternate Wednesdays, they run singing sessions aimed at older people, and like ours, it's extremely popular. Between us, we are able to cover most of Saltash. MHA Communities also provides services in other parts of Cornwall, and Liz is definitely the person to speak to if you want to know more about these. Like us, they also organise occasional trips out to venues in Devon and Cornwall. These are extremely popular as people affected by dementia are often isolated and can struggle with transport. A couple of trips that we have done, which have been very popular, have been to Healy's Cider Farm and Plymouth Gin. I have to say that by the time we got to Plymouth Gin, I was really ready for the free samples. So, really important topic for any charity or community organisation is funding. We couldn't do any of what we do without it. And we are funded in many different ways. We're not permanently funded by community enterprises or any other organisation. All of our activities are free, but we do ask for donations. Whether it is a few pence or a few pounds is up to the individual. We always endeavour to keep costs to a minimum and do not wish to start charging, as our activities we want to keep to make sure they're available to all and nobody is precluded because they can't afford it. Some of our service users and supporters can be very generous, and every so often we receive larger donations. For example, earlier this year, a family was so grateful for what we do, they gave us a cheque for £1,000, which absolutely amazed all the volunteers and for which we were extremely grateful and very humbled. We hold fundraising events, for example, race nights, quiz nights, and last year we did a tea and cake concert. We are lucky to have the support of our local community, and venues are often provided for free, and people donate their time, so that is all of the profits can come to us. Our main source of funding is via bids to various organisations, for example, Cornwall Community Foundation, National Lottery, etc. We were lucky enough to, the Memory Box Cafe is mostly self-funded as it takes place at the community kitchen and donations cover most of the costs, but we are currently looking for funding opportunities to cover the shortfall. We were very lucky to receive funding from the Power of Music Fund covering 3 years, and this goes a long way towards the cost of our singing sessions. This also enabled us to increase our sessions from twice a month to once a week, which delighted everyone. Nobody was happier than I was, as it enabled me to read my dream of weekly sessions, which I had wanted since we started. When we set up the Veterans Group, we were lucky to have a contact who introduced us to Greenwich Hospital, the naval charity based in London. And after a successful initial bid, I'm pleased to say that they have continued to fund this vital group and are still doing so. We still have to go through a funding process, which is quite arduous, but we have some amazing volunteers who have always done this for us. One very important thing is knowing the right people. We've always had close links with lots of local community organisations, and we have a great many in Saltash. And being part of community enterprises really helps with this. We've also worked with local youth groups, which is really important as it brings the generations together. And MHA Communities Cornwall are currently working with the Core Youth Project in Saltash, which is a really important project that they're doing. The Alzheimer Society have always been very supportive. We have contacts with our local GP practices, plus the memory clinic in Liskeard. We keep in touch with our local social prescriber, and she has a session in the community kitchen immediately after our cafe, which often proves very useful. We have links with Saltash Chamber of Commerce, as one of Community Enterprises Directors is their chair, and we have always worked closely with and had a lot of support from Saltash Town Council. Yeah, okay. What are you saying? Right, I'll talk quickly. So how do we reach the wider community? Well, I'll skip the business breakfast, I've done that. We ran dementia-friendly sessions when 2 of our volunteers were dementia champions, including training staff at our local Waitrose. We give talks to local community groups. Our fundraising activities don't just raise money, they also raise our profile and help to pass the message regarding issues faced by people affected by dementia. Our memory box singers have performed at a local library more than once, including a concert in April. They took part in the Saltash Songs and Shanties Festival last year, and we were absolutely privileged and delighted to be invited by our mayor to perform at her civic service earlier this year. And we were even more honoured and delighted to be awarded a certificate and a silver cup for the civic performance of the year 2024-25. We've also performed at the Saltash Mayfair, and we will shortly be performing at the Tinkham Tea Party. All of these performances have only been possible because of the confidence our activities have given our service users and the support they receive, not just from our volunteers, but from each other. And what is so important is they let audiences see what people are affected by dementia are capable of. And I'm incredibly proud of what they've achieved. To quickly expand on our work with Saltash Town Council, in 2023 we were invited to a meeting with the Assistant Town Clerk with the aim of making Saltash Town Council dementia-friendly. Our first task was to undertake an audit of Saltash Town Council premises. Now, we're not formally trained for this task, but caring for someone living with dementia and 10 years of working with people affected by dementia teaches you an awful lot, so we felt confident that we could do it. And we were absolutely delighted when our recommendations were adopted and signage, etc., changed to make life easier for those affected by dementia. And it also showed genuine commitment from Saltash Town Council. Saltash Library has always been extremely supportive from day one, and they have a section dedicated just to dementia, and I believe they've taken the lead on this positive attitude in Cornwall. Last year we held a Dementia Uncovered event at Saltash Guildhall, and this was open to anyone to attend and incorporated a Dementia Friends session run by the Alzheimer Society. We also gave a memory box presentation, and then it's particularly discussing issues in Saltash itself and how people can help. We also gave some local statistics to show how dementia can affect anyone. Most people will be affected by dementia at some time in their life, whether it be a close friend or a relative. And we are very grateful to Saltash Town Council for sponsoring this event. We will continue to spread the word that it is possible to live well with dementia and to educate people on how they can assist those affected by dementia. And to end, I would just like to say that in the 10 years I've been volunteering with Memory Box, I have met the most amazing people, including veterans, teachers and healthcare workers. I know that people who are living with dementia have led wonderful lives and have contributed greatly to society and continue to do so. A dementia diagnosis does not change any of that. I've been lucky enough to experience countless magical moments that no amount of money could buy. I've laughed and I've cried tears of joy and sadness. One thing I know is that I'm extremely lucky to be able to do what I do, and I hope I can carry on for years to come. And despite all the trials and tribulations, I would do it all again in a heartbeat. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found this useful. Thank you. And now, yeah.
We're the Memory Box Singers, yes we are. Yes we are. We're the Memory Box Singers, yes we are. Yes we are. We're the Memory Box Singers. Memory Box Singers. We're the Memory Box Singers, yes we are. Yes we are. And okay? Little eyes. These are songs that you know, so, we want a big house, not quiet. So join in. The other night I had a dream, the funniest dream of all. I dreamt that I was kissing you behind the oh, tell me, honey, tell me you, who is your turtle dove? Oh, tell me, honey, tell me you, who is the one you love? And she said, little eyes, I love you, little eyes, I love you, I love you in the springtime and the fall. Little eyes, I love you. Little eyes, I love you. I love you the best of all. Honey, honey, honey. I took my honey home last night beneath the spreading pine. I placed my arms around her waist and pressed her lips to mine, and she said, little eyes, I love you, little eyes, I love you, I love you in the springtime and the fall. Little eyes, I love you, little eyes, I love you, I love you the best of all. Honey, honey, honey. This you'll recognise from a very old musical, but a very good musical, nonetheless. Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself on the furniture. We're in a lot to share. Who Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself on the furniture. There isn't a lot to spare. Who cares whatever we got to share? If there's a chance to be, we should see some holidays. Empty holidays, why rouse? Or there's a chance to meet somebody to foot the bill when the drinks are on the house.
Yours.
Consider yourself late. We don't want to have no fuss. For after some consideration, we can say, consider yourself
One of us. Nobody has to be la-di-da or uppity.
There's a cup of tea for all. Or it's wise to be handy with the rolling pin when the landlord comes to call.
Come the chance to be, we should see some holidays.
Every holiday, why rouse? Always a chance to meet somebody to foot the bill when the drinks are on the house. Consider yourself our mate. We don't want to have no fuss. For after some consideration, we will say, consider yourself one of us.
So for this one, I want to divide it really up. So half the room, right down the middle. This half, this half. So this half, I want to see, if you know this, you'll know how it works. So this half will sing the line, I close my eyes.
I'm not so sure.
And this half will do it too. I close my eyes. And then everybody sings together through the curtain. Okay? Okay, so Pat, Nora, this side. Pat, Ken, this side. Let's give it a go. Are you ready?
No.
Through the
everybody how we end our sessions. Well,